We're going to talk about my 3 takeaways in business and life in my 18-day visit to Vietnam. It's ironic, I planned on 4 to 6 weeks to be in Vietnam to achieve 3 things. Number 1, to visit Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh for a possible retirement for 6 months out of the year. Number 2, I wanted to see the business vibe, the opportunity for me to incorporate my experience, my wisdom after 50 years into contract manufacturing, sourcing, new business development, and also mergers and acquisition activity. Number 3, viewing manufacturing operations that could verify my due diligence in vetting the capabilities, the capacity, the supply chain, the innovation, and the business structures of capabilities in Vietnam, which I've heard about for many years. So let's get into it. Number 1, the vibe. I just said, you know what? I'm going to check this out to see if this is something that I want to do as I begin my 7th act in my career, which is, let's face it, retirement. What I did is basically started up a YouTube and a TikTok channel, put a diary together. What I discovered was I hit all my goals with the help of the Vietnamese people, because everyone is on TikTok. Everyone's on a device. You're talking about Saigon, which the Vietnamese call their home, is Saigon, not Ho Chi Minh City like Americans do. So out of respect, I'll call it Saigon. I toured a few things, and I got into TikTok. I started doing daily videos, some of them short, some of them lengthy. Then I created in my head the 5 pillars of success that you'll be seeing on my YouTube. The vibe that I received was, you know what? I could see myself doing this. And after 18 days, I achieved what I wanted to achieve. I'll be returning. And I've decided what months I want to go, when I want to go next. I'm excited about it. So I made some decisions. To make that happen. The second option was business development. I'm a workaholic, there's no doubt about it, and I've had success after 50 years of my career, usually in sales and marketing and introductions and communications. But I understand manufacturing very well because I was in manufacturing the first 25 years of my career, along with being a contract converter for 3M in new business development globally, global operations and supply chain, in manufacturing and costs, quality, innovation, and so on. The first thing I did was I wanted to meet and become a member of the American Chamber of Commerce between America and Vietnam, which I did. I met people there, became a member. I learned a lot. In the meantime, a good friend of mine, Scott, introduced me to sourcing companies. And then, of all things, TikTok and YouTube started giving me direct messages about entrepreneurs, of looking at opportunities. And these people travel to see me, to bring themselves to meet their mentors and so on. So I've had tremendous success in less than 2 weeks in Vietnam, to the point where I got to get back and implement and execute my own goals of my book that's coming out, book number 2. I'm going to get that going. I got a publicist I hired. I'm in social media pretty much, committed to that. That's 50% of my time, and that's what I'm doing here. I really found out that Vietnam is a paradise for family business and supply chain. These owners of family businesses, they own multiple equity positions into not only their supply chain, their innovation, and what they lack is marketing, sales and marketing. However, they know the United States is the place to go. I'm anticipating additional consulting services and connections and introductions to the United States in their segments. It could be manufacturing, it could be packaging, it could be printing, it could be food distribution. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity. And some of these young entrepreneurs, I call them mini rocks. As you know, my name is Rock LaManna. And what I see in them are 30, 40-year-olds that are as driven as I was when I was 30, 40 years old. And that's exciting. Much more educated, multilingual, will travel the world, and excited, and they love America. And a lot of them have relatives in America that came over after what we call in Vietnam the American War, of all things. The Americans call it the Vietnam War. They call it the American War over in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh and Saigon, which is understandable. So that was number 2 takeaway. The third is the total integration that these people have. It's amazing that they could own the rice fields, for an example, for food, and rice conversion into rice straws, of all things. Rice straws, pasta, noodles, lotions and potions and all that to look young and so on. I was really impressed with their drive, their ambition, family values. They care about their children. They take care of their children. I could go on and on about how I felt in that country. I felt like I was in my 40s. God's given me the opportunity and the blessings of gifts that I could pass on to others. So it's a tremendous situation. I can't say enough about the hospitality, the services. If you want to know about the cost, you're talking about 1/3 to 1/2 of the American dollar is the expense. My hotel, which was a 5-star Marriott Sheraton in downtown Saigon, where everything was, and the service was outstanding. There was no discussion about every 3 days change your linens. No. Every day, service, clean, well done. Please tip people. The tips are really appreciated. They're not accustomed to receiving tips. Tipping is outstanding. My laundry, every day, items were free. I would just put it in the bag, mention what I wanted, return same day, no cost. Well, I was there 17 nights, and I walked out thinking I was going to pay 50% of an American dollar. It was actually 35% American dollar. And I'm talking about first class. I took $2,000 cash with me, and I came back with $1,200. $800 was tips, services, whatever it was that I wanted. Clothing, my walking shoes or socks or whatever it is, it was 1/3, cost of 1/3. And I always looked at clothing made in Vietnam because I wanted to support Vietnam. I had a couple custom shirts made because I didn't bring any dress shirts, and I had a couple dress occasions that I prepared for. So I decided to buy custom shirts. And by the way, I met people from Japan, Australia, the UK, Canada, America, of course, all parts of Vietnam. The taxis, Uber was acquired, that territory, Saigon was acquired, Uber was the seller, and Grab, Greb, is the number 1 provider of transportation. The navigation, the app is first class, the privacy. I mean, it was like first class, and these people are just so respectful, and the gratitude and appreciation. I keep going back to the war because my brother served as a printer in the war, He taught me, he told me where he was, he was north of Saigon for 10 months, 11 months in 67, 68. I went through a few museums that were horrid, believe me. I put them on TikTok, and one of them was almost 100,000 views. And you know who's really into TikTok? Are these kids. When I say kids, we're talking about first generation. The war ended in the United States, in Vietnam, in 1975. So it's the 50-year anniversary. So most of these so-called first generation, the 30, 40-year-olds were, born. And family values, they support the family. I mean, it's just a beautiful culture, and the kids are happy, they're smiling. Their education is so important to them, and they really work hard at their English as their secondary. They start in kindergarten. I started asking them about their education. They're basically 10, 11 months of school year-round, and then January is their holiday. The whole month they get off. That's their new year. Besides high school, they have 2 ways of going to college, and they have to pass a test. And it's not that easy to pass to get to local college or university. And then there's an international, which you have to have higher standards. Very difficult. And usually the families never had a college education, or I should say the generations before them, because they were at war. We were at war. United States was at war through 5 presidents. I'll be back. And that's my goal right now, is to finish up what I need to do here in the United States. I got multiple deals going on. I'm going to coach a mini rock to get to the United States and the marketing and distribution. I'm excited about that. Some of these people are so talented. I said, listen, you should be a consultant. I'm coaching them on how to set up a business, an LLC, or whatever they're going to do, and then take on multiple engagements, make sure you're paid, make sure you take care of your taxes, and this is how you make money. These people work hard, man. I'm proud to be able to coach them or mentor them, because I know they're going to pass it on, and the respect that I get as an elder is unsurpassed. I just feel really great about Vietnam. I can't say enough about it. So I wanted to just remind you that everything I'm doing is expanding my experiences, expanding my relevancy and my education and my experiences, and I'm proud. I've flown close to 2 million miles in my lifetime in 50 years. Over 95% of it's been business, because everything I've done in my life is business related. My buddy that invited me there, he says, Rock, you're intense, man. I go, yeah, but this is my life. I like it. I enjoy it. I'm good at it, and I'm fulfilled by it, And I've done my parenting. I've done my grandparenting. And I look at myself as a role model for others. And for someone to adopt me as a mentor, I'm honored by that, especially outside the country. If I could bring an opportunity where I'm bringing Americans and Vietnamese together, I'm proud of that. And after close to 2 million miles of flight, this is the first time in my career that I didn't want to leave. Usually after 10 days, 2 weeks, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get situated. In this case, as I mentioned before, I planned on 4 to 6 weeks. I wanted to get back in 18 days so I could fulfill my contracts in the United States, so I can rush back to Vietnam and continue on focusing on supply chain, business development, expanding my globe, all the great things in life, and seeing the growth of others and helping others. I'm fulfilled by doing that. I also met with my charity that I'm involved with, called the Dove Charity. And it's basically development of Vietnam endeavors. And it was set up 25 years ago by Vietnam, United States Army vets to give back to what they believe wasn't the right thing to do many years ago. And so they were into it 25 years. It has to do with education, building schools. They're up to over 12,000 kids they've educated over 25 years. Some of these kids from grade school are now in college. They go on to international schools. There's scholarships behind it and so on. I discovered them through the web because I always had something in my heart about Vietnam. Part of it was the draft was discontinued in January 1973, and I felt fortunate that I wasn't drafted. I graduated high school in 1973. My brother Jim was drafted and served. My other two brothers were also drafted, but had reasons not to serve at that time. I educated myself before I went over. I educated myself through reading and watching documentaries and so on. I said to myself, I got to go. I went to the 25-year anniversary. I even got choked up with that because these guys have done a great job, and I'm going to continue on supporting and being an advocate of the Dove Fund. And you could check that out at dovefund.org. So it's a great thing. So anyway, that's kind of my summary on my 18-day tour of Vietnam. I can't say enough about it. It was awesome. I wanted to add this about the food because people, hey, Rock, how's the food? How's the food? Food's awesome, but I'm not a foodie, and I'm also a celiac disease person. So I got to do everything gluten-free. Do they have gluten-free? Damn right they do. So I was fun doing my food gluten-free, no problem. I can't pronounce half the stuff. I just know, take a picture of it or look at it, say this is what I'm looking. They knew right away. And they treated me like gold. And don't forget, tip like crazy. You're going to feel like a billionaire when you see their dollars and their currency. It's called the Viet Dong, D-O-N-G. So it's pretty cool, man. And just to see, and you know, the service was so good, and the porters were so good, and the service that I didn't know what else to do besides not only give them tips. I would go down, they're so-called Trader Joe's. They have like organic food place. It was awesome, and I would bring candy back and all that. Now, I wanted to eat the candy, but, you know, I'm gluten-free, so I can't eat it. I would bring back candy for these guys and ask for their pictures of their children, and I can't say enough about it. Do I have any cons? Nah. The con is it takes so long to get there, 24, 27 hours, depending on which direction you go. But you know what? I learned how to pace myself when it comes down to sleep and so on. I learned a lot about that. Hopefully you got a good message here that Vietnam is the place to be, man. It's a place to be. And if I was 30 years younger, would I be there full time? Possibly. Possibly. You never know. But anyway, God's got me going in the right direction. I love it. I appreciate the opportunity to go and open up my world of experience and be exposed to happy people. Happy, hardworking, intelligent people that are kind, courteous, respectful, very low crime, no guns, drugs, be careful, all the right things to watch the world of safety. Did I feel safe there? You're damn right. You're damn right. I had no problem. If anything, respect. And I really appreciate that. So anyway, we'll talk to you soon. I got more to come on YouTube. If there's any way that you could send me a question or an answer, or just ask me. You know, I'm here, I'm available. I'll talk to you soon. And as always, I always mention, always bring joy. Well, guess what? The Vietnamese brought me joy. So let's do it around the world. I'll talk to you soon.